I'm a man in my 30s raising 2 kids, but I have a secret. I've been seeing my aunt. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's true. I was born in a small town and graduated high school there. Proudly, I was a good student and got into a college in New York. My dad's brother, my uncle, lived near the college. So, under the arrangement that my dad would send boarding money to my aunt, I lived at my uncle's place. My uncle owned an electronics store in a densely populated area. It was always busy and did well financially. My aunt ran a homemade cake shop nearby. Initially, I didn't realize, but her cakes were famous in the area, often praised in local mom groups online. Though small, her shop sold out daily. I learned to bake cakes there whenever I had time. Particularly, a lot of mothers with kids frequented the shop for a slice of cake and a drink. My aunt's freshly brewed coffee and fruit juices were also popular. Thus, each of them ran their businesses successfully. They didn't have children of their own. When I was a kid visiting, my aunt doted on me, often buying me expensive toys. Our family wasn't well off, so those toys kept me entertained for days. But my aunt didn't just spoil me with gifts. When I visited New York as a child, she would eagerly take me to amusement parks, showing a special interest in me. In my 2nd grade, she even called my mom to ask if I could join them for a summer vacation. I vividly remember having a blast at the beach with them, riding a huge two-person too. I have a younger brother, 5 years my junior. Cute as he was, I felt like I lost my mom's sole attention to him. Plus, his meddling with my things was annoying. Childishly, I didn't look out for him as an older brother should. Adults would say, boys will be boys, competing as they grow. My aunt, however, showed me the first signs of affection, often favoring me over my younger brother. On days I didn't have classes, I helped out at my aunt's shop. I engaged with the community online, responding to posts about her shop and sometimes planning promotions. On busy days at my uncle's store, he'd call me in to help, teaching me the ropes. Though financially stable, it seemed like they didn't talk much at home, managing separate stores. Despite their economic comfort, their relationship didn't seem close. Despite everything, my aunt seemed comfortable with me staying over. I found myself relying on her. When I was in college, my aunt was in her late 40s. As summer approached, she began dressing more casually. My aunt was about 5'6" without an ounce of fat on her. Although I never knew her exact weight, she was clearly very slim. I too dressed comfortably at home, and my aunt would wear short shirts and shorts or sometimes a dress. However, I noticed she would occasionally glance over at me, so I started to make sure I was wearing shirts and shorts too. My aunt said it was fine to wear light clothes during the hot weather, but since she wasn't my mom, I felt a bit awkward dressing too casually. My aunt loved wearing a light, aquatic fragrance. My mom, on the other hand, only used skin and milk lotion. I had never seen perfume on her dresser, but being near my aunt, I always caught a fresh, pleasant scent that lifted my spirits. One day, I asked her, "Auntie, can I ask you something? You're so beautiful. I can only imagine how pretty a daughter like you would have been and how well you would have raised her." She didn't respond right away. Bringing up children in front of my aunt was a taboo I was unaware of, but I felt so at ease with her that I asked naturally. There must have been a reason she never brought up the topic of children herself, and realizing this, I covered my mouth with my hand. My aunt then shared, "We wanted to have children too, but it didn't happen for us." People often think having children is a given when you get married, but that's not the case for many couples. I hope when you, Ethan, get married, you'll be blessed with many beautiful children. Tears filled her clear eyes. The mood turned a bit awkward, and suddenly she headed to the kitchen, saying, "How about we have a cold beer?" I offered, "I'll get it, and I'll cut up some mango too." Then she began, "Let me tell you our love story." She was preparing for job interviews in her senior year of college when a professor, who thought highly of her, introduced her to the son of an acquaintance. That man was my uncle. She fell for his healthy, masculine appearance, and after dating for a year, they got married. He would visit her at her office every day for dates. They started off modestly, but as they both worked, their situation improved. They didn't rush into having children, thinking they would enjoy their newlywed life first, but when they eventually tried, they couldn't conceive. After undergoing tests at a renowned hospital, it was discovered that my great-aunt had some health issues that necessitated surgery. Despite this, fate did not bless their home with a child. Initially, my great-aunt was inclined to adopt a child. She met while volunteering at a local orphanage. However, my great-uncle expressed his preference for it to be just the two of them, halting any further discussion on the matter. As his dealership flourished, he became even busier, and my great-aunt too threw herself into her work to avoid dwelling on such thoughts. In my father's family, there are two brothers, my great-uncle and my dad. My great-aunt has younger siblings who have children much younger than me. Among all the relatives from both sides, I am the eldest grandchild. Not to boast, but I am tall and slender. My height shot up because I've been eating double portions since middle school. Somehow all of it went into making me taller rather than heavier. Our family went through tough times, but our fridge was always stocked with meat. I later learned that my great-aunt insisted on providing enough protein for a growing boy. Thus, she sent money for that purpose. She was the one who supported me unconditionally as I grew, from elementary to high school. Every new school year, it was my great-aunt who bought me my backpacks and even supported me with my school uniform expenses. When my mom found it challenging to afford my tutoring fees, she called my great-aunt, who didn't hesitate to support my education. She told my mom that she would spare no expense for my studies, believing in my potential. I only found out about this later and was amazed that we could afford tutoring given our financial situation. Thanks to her support, I was accepted into a university in New York. I expressed my gratitude to my great-aunt, promising to repay her kindness now that I've reached adulthood. She brushed off my offer, telling me that understanding her intentions was enough, and asked me not to worry about repaying her. I was oblivious to the fact that it was thanks to my great-aunt that I could attend a prestigious university. She wanted to support me quietly, promising to share her role in my success later. Despite appearing to live a comfortable life running their businesses, my great-aunt felt a profound loneliness due to not having children. She found solace in a group of women from a local infertility support group who would visit her shop for chats. However, their departure left her feeling even more isolated. Despite her outward smiles, she confessed that living a childless life with her husband was incredibly challenging, breaking down and crying into my lap. In her late 40s, my aunt still radiates beauty, yet the lack of affection in her marriage is palpable. stirring a deep sympathy within me. My heart sank further upon hearing her shocking revelation. My uncle had an affair with a young woman from his office. She confessed she had never shared this with anyone, the shame too great. But today, she felt an overwhelming need to bare her soul. I felt betrayed by my uncle, appalled that he could overlook such a kind and beautiful wife for a younger woman. As my aunt broke down in tears, I gently held her hand, offering a silent comfort. I never thought I'd share this in front of you, Ethan. Thank you for listening. It feels like a weight has been lifted. Please forget everything I've said, okay? Her smile through the tears was heartbreakingly sweet. She seemed to find some peace, lying down on the couch with a serene expression, before drifting into a peaceful sleep. Watching her sleep, emotions poured out, made me realize how deeply these burdens weighed on her. I carried her to bed, her body light in my arms, a stark reminder of her vulnerability. As I was about to leave, she murmured, "Ethan, stay with me tonight." I confessed, "Aunt, living with you, you've occupied my every thought." That night, we shared a connection. Despite her initial hesitation, she welcomed the closeness. It became clear that my uncle, living as if he were single, was far from a good husband. I had planned to work part-time to pay for my classes, but she insisted, "Don't even think about it. Having you by my side is all I need." I stayed by her side, sharing both work and love, until I graduated. We even shared spontaneous moments of love when pressed by urgency. Even after securing a job in New York and fathering a child, I continue to live with her. She still says, "Come over for some cake," a gentle invitation to be together. Now in my 30s, I can't bear to leave her alone. Responding to her texts with a quick excuse to my wife, "I'm off to get some cake," and rushing to her side. I'm in my 30s, but I can't ignore my lonely aunt because she matters to me.